Good morning, everyone. Edcamp, right from our home, edcampHOME 2.0, January 4th. This session here is Edcamp creating a makerspace. I'm Craig Yen from Berkeley, California, teach 5th grade.
I'm Neil Andershuk from Little Falls, Minnesota. I'm a digital learning specialist. I work with pre-K through 12 teachers.
Awesome.
I'm Stephanie Wayment from Northern California. I work at Lake County Office of Education supporting all of our districts, preschool through high school.
I'm Jen Filosa. I teach in Baltimore County, high school, U.S. history, and AP economics, and this is my 8th year doing that, and I'm always into learning new ways of getting into my students' head and getting them excited about learning.
I'm Barbara Leedahl. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Barbara Leedahl. I work in Prince George's County Public Schools in Maryland. I live in Columbia, and I'm just getting into the whole idea of makerspaces.
And is there anyone else that we were missing?
I think Mary.
Meredith, are you there?
I think her audio's off.
Your microphone is muted, yep.
So one of the things, once you get past like 5 people, then there you go. Are you there?
I realized in the last session that when my headphones were in, my audio wasn't on my Chromebook, so I took my headphones out. I don't know if you have headphones in.
So if you plug in the headphones and then unplug them again, perhaps that might work.
The other option is to do an introduction in the chat, and we can check it there if you can't get your microphone to work.
Sure. Does anybody have any experience with makerspaces? I know that some of the people were saying that they were just starting a makerspace. And again, I'm trying to invite some more people into our session right now, so I'm going to leave the discussion up to you guys.
Well, this is Barbara. I attended the Invent to Learn workshop in New York City with Gary Steger and, who was the other one? Sylvia Martinez, and they just really got me very interested in bringing a makerspace to our school. I'm learning this stuff myself, and I'm getting some teachers very excited about it.
Well, I was looking through the session titles yesterday, and I saw Makerspace, did a quick Google search, and have been really excited about Makerspace for roughly 24 hours now.
And it's very, very new to me. I don't have any experience with it. I've heard about different makerspace creative ideas. Just about an hour and a half south of me in Sebastopol, they have a very large movement of makerspace activities and things like that. So I'm interested in learning more and seeing how we can provide this opportunity for our students.
And I joined because it sounded interesting. I'm not familiar with what they are either, so yeah.
So does that mean we have to do a bunch of Google searches and in 60 seconds reconvene with...
Yeah, read it to each other.
I think Craig is probably really familiar with them. I think he's a library ed tech guy, but he might be inviting more people to.
I am not very familiar with them. However, I know that my go-to all the time is always Jerry Blumengarten or Cyberman, and then so there's a couple of different things that I can go ahead and suggest overall, and then one of the things that was pretty interesting to me, and then I'll try and toss this into the chat window as well, is have you seen the video with Kane's Arcade?
Yes.
Yes.
And then so one of the things that Kane's Arcade has is that they're doing is called the Cardboard Challenge. And then so that heavily has to do with Makerspaces. Let me find a little link for that. And then so go back towards the chat window as well, and then so if some people want to go ahead and take a look at some of those windows as well. Let's find a link for that. If somebody can do it, again, there's like a couple more people that I'm trying to get in here. If somebody can go ahead and look up share Cyber-Man and Makerspaces, that would work.
Would this fit more toward a, I hate categorizing things, but a STEM, or it can be any group of kids?
Yeah. Well, let me share what my understanding of a makerspace would be based on what I learned from Gary Steger and Sylvia Martinez. The whole maker idea is to give students an opportunity to explore and discover and make something. I mean, one of the quotes I like, don't be bored, make something. And a lot of times in schools, I think the kids they really need to do some more hands-on. You can think of it as STEM. I like to think of it, I come from an art background. I'm a creative arts technology specialist in my school district. So I look at things, from how you can make it beautiful. And I think that it can go cross-curricular areas. It can include science and technology and math and engineering, but it also can include art and writing and social studies and everything. I think Gary Steger and Sylvia Martinez outlined 3 really important things about makerspaces, or the maker movement, or making in school, and that is that it's project-based. It's got an open-ended question of something that's solvable but also challenging, and that you need to give students time to explore and create and to solve problems. And there's others, I don't have the book in front of me to be more specific, but I think for me, and I work in central office, so I help teachers integrate technology, but if it were me teaching in a classroom, I would like to I envision myself having a section of the room set up so that students can rotate in and work on a particular problem, where they could make a bookmark that lights up, or make something move, or use Makey Makey to control sounds or computer actions or things like that, and to have these things available in the back of the room or wherever for students to work. I didn't mean to blab, but that's kind of what I know about makerspaces.
Welcome, Robert.
Oh, thank you, Craig.
Did you have something to add about Makerspaces?
Well, I mean, I heard what everybody's saying, and I mean, pretty much that's what I believe to be true, is that it's basically, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be its own space. And the way that we're doing it, we're opening up to our K-8 students. And pretty much it's going to be a place where they can come in and do whatever they want during lunchtime, kind of whatever club they are interested in, community outreach, Legos, Minecraft, anything. And then we'll have some after-school courses, which will be kind of in-depth in making and design thinking, coding, and robotics.
That's awesome. One of the things that we just ended up doing and that I did blog about was the hour of code, and just thinking about coding within the classroom at the elementary level. And I was just thinking, hey, this might be something that we want to go ahead and start as either something for them to do at lunch or something, an after-school program.
Yeah.
Just to see that excitement level.
No, we had some teachers who did our code with their kids, and now they're doing that code.org computer science class.
it's pretty amazing as to the amount of resources that they have on that site itself. And then so if for those that aren't familiar with it, I'll go ahead and type it within the chat box. It's just code.org, and there's a bunch of different tutorials. One of the other things that I just came across this week was Code Academy. And then there's a whole bunch of other resources on there as well, just to learn different things like JavaScript, HTML coding.
Now, Robert, you said that you have already started this at your school. Can I ask some nuts and bolts questions about it?
Yes.
You're talking after school, you're talking lunch, you're talking breaks. Who is staffing it and who is supplying materials?
So right now, I am the one that's going to be staffing. We actually open up on Tuesday when the kids come back.
Okay.
And the reason I'm staffing, even though I'm the STEM coordinator, is that I really want to understand the nuts and bolts before we have somebody else become a part of it. Next year, we're still trying to figure out if we would have an actual credentialed teacher in there, or if we'd have kind of an AmeriCorps member.
Okay.
We're hoping to work through the Maker Education Initiative's MakerCorps. And then as far as supplies, so far we've been funded by a few generous donors from the area. And our hope is to work with some businesses around and kind of have each makerspace perhaps sponsored by a different business.
And is it in the corner of the library, as I saw somebody mention in the comments? Is it in your personal classroom? Do you teach part of the day as well as being the STEM coordinator? Where do you have space on your school campus to designate this as a full-time storage in and out facility?
So right now our pilot is actually happening at a school where they had a couple empty rooms.
Okay.
So right now it's actually its own room that I have designed from the ground up, as far as the painting, stripping the carpet and putting in new floor. But we're looking at different ways for different sites what to do, because we do have some sites that have no open spaces. So we're actually talking about integrating with the science lab or with the library, or maybe even having a mobile cart.
Okay, thank you.
It's interesting to have a mobile cart. I know that, Robert, you're in the Bay Area like myself, and so one of the resources that we're very fortunate to have here is Raft. And so one of the things that's nice about it is that if you actually go to their site, and it's like raft.net or something like that, they do have a whole bunch of different activities and then hands-on activities. And so, and the nice thing about it also is that they offer a whole bunch of different, they have a warehouse where it is that teachers can go in and pick up different items themselves at pennies on the dollar that businesses have discarded within the area. Just to have, like, I think that funding piece is very important.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I mean, as far as our curriculum, I haven't built out anything yet. That's kind of my weekend's work. But I've been talking to some of the teachers in Los Altos, because Los Altos started their kind of STEM labs this year. So I'm finding that kind of just reaching out through Twitter and through my kind of local PLN has really connected me to some people who are already doing these things, and so I'm not really building anything myself. I'm just kind of taking what other people are doing and putting it together.
I have a suggestion as well for possible professional development ideas. I think that it's really important to get the grown-ups
I mean, right now I'm going to be reaching out to teachers tomorrow and basically asking them how they see themselves being a part of this. So I really don't have any advice, except just kind of however you think it might work, even just starting a little makerspace in the back of your classroom. There's a teacher, I believe her name is Christine Mytko, M-Y-T-K-O, and I'll put her site into our Hangout. And she actually just has a makerspace in the back of her classroom. She's a middle school teacher. I'm not sure what subject she teaches, actually. But the kids just go back there and create kind of on their own time, as well as I think during class sometimes.
I think that's something that I definitely want to do, is to allow students to create more and just to have that space set up for them. Just to, sounds like Robert's, you're going big, where it is that you have so many different, so many different ideas and so many different things that you want to go ahead and try. But I think that the big thing is that just to allow students to just start doing it. I know that there's a bunch of different Twitter chats that are set up to go ahead and talk about how it is that people are implementing this within their own classroom.
Yeah, there's Maker Ed, and then Design Thinking K-12 chat, so DT K-12 chat, and I'm sure there's others as well.
Are you going to the STEM conference that we have within our area? I think it's on February 7th.
Is that the one that's kind of in the East Bay?
Office of Education.
I might. I went to it last year. Didn't get a lot out of it.
Oh.
So I'm not sure. I mean, if you're going, I'll probably go.
I was looking into that at this point, and then so I know that's over in San Ramon, and then I know that there's just a whole bunch of different resources for those that are interested in some of these different opportunities to be able to bring something like this within to our classrooms.
Yeah, well, and the most exciting thing that I've seen at most of these kind of conferences recently is actually what Bea was saying, is getting the teachers and the participants involved in actually creating. And that's actually, I mean, I feel like I'm doing my dream job right now, because I get to right now create and design and try out all these things with the kids.
That you get to play.
Yeah, I feel like I'm playing all day. And I think my wife really appreciates that this is my job, because otherwise I would be trying to do this at home.
I like that, where it is that you have that space created, where it is that you can go ahead and do those different types of things. Fun stuff. I think that's something that I definitely want to get more into and think about how it is to allow students to do that. I know that our science is very much hands-on, and yet we don't necessarily leave out all those materials for the students to go ahead and create. So I know when I was teaching 4th grade, we had the FOSS unit, where it is that we would do a lot of circuits and building circuits and using electricity, and yet we wouldn't leave those boxes out for them to go ahead and experiment with, for them to go ahead and play. And I think that that's something where it is when students are given that time to explore more and explore further, it's amazing as to what it is that they can do.
I will say, for anybody who's looking into creating a makerspace, that one of the things that I did was I basically just reached out to kids who were in makerspaces, to adults who run them, and kind of asked them what tools they felt were the best or the most exciting. And pretty much everybody said it's the laser cutter. I thought it was going to be the 3D printer, but apparently, I mean, the laser cutter, you can cut cardboard, plastic, anything else, and you can design 3D objects just by piecing them together.
And that's called a laser cutter?
Yes. but it's also the most expensive thing that you could add. I'm trying to find one right now, or try to get one that's a little bit cheaper, but I think the cheapest I've found is about $4,000.
Ouch.
Yeah. But 3D printers, if you're at a public school, the Donors Choose recently has had their partnership with MakerBot. And in certain areas, you can get a MakerBot with almost home funding, and all you have to do is get somebody to donate $99, and you can have a MakerBot 2, which is $2,400 in your classroom.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was looking at that, and I was going, okay, let's see. How is it that I could go ahead and word this, and what is it that I would go ahead and use this for? I probably just should have put in the proposal first and then ask questions and use it later.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to add about developing makerspaces and integrating making in school is that the whole the whole philosophy is sharing. It's not necessarily. I mean, it is DIY, do it yourself, but it's actually, I like to think of it as do it with others, and that online you can go and do any kind of a search, and you're going to find people who have posted code for this or that, and they are willing to share. And it's with that spirit then, as we develop our own makerspaces, we're basically invited and encouraged and almost expected to share our knowledge with the communities about what we learn and about best practices and things like that. So, I mean, that's what really I like best about the maker movement, is that we're talking to each other and working together.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between a makerspace and a hackerspace?
That's a good question. I think of a hackerspace as taking something that's already put together and tweaking it to make it work. You know, like I looked at our Christmas lights this Christmas in a different eye, and I ended up taking something apart to see how it worked. Now, is that a hackerspace? I don't know, but I ended up breaking a string of lights. But that's beside the point.
For the time being, you can reuse them for something else at this point.
That's right.
Put them into your redesigned makerspace for the classroom.
There you go. I haven't thrown them away.
As teachers, well, actually, maybe that would be stereotyping. Are teachers necessarily always hoarders?
Resourceful.
I was until my wife really got me into kind of decluttering and feng shuiing my classroom. And at that point, I got rid of a lot. And it actually made the classroom much more functional, and I've actually tried to apply that to this design of the makerspace. It's to try to only have what you might need or might use.
I think that also one of the things that I almost want to have like everything out there for them to go ahead and use and for them to be able to have at their disposal, and yet at the same time I almost want to focus it, especially at an elementary level. The other thing that I was thinking of when you're talking about after-school programs is involving the community, is either having a maker fair or having parental involvement.
Oh yeah. No, I'm hoping to invite adults in, like Bea was saying. I'm hoping to invite all of the teachers and anybody else who's interested for a Saturday to come in and explore all of this. Perhaps we'll get some donors out of it, but really I'm just hoping to kind of increase this maker movement in our community.
I know that I've seen some of our Twitter posts and some of our Twitter followings, and I think it was Tedra Cece and Allison Anderson who was posting that she was over at a maker fair over at her daughter's school, and then just to see that sort of thing within the schools and thing to take off is just so exciting.
Jen, did we answer your question about hackerspace?
I I'm not sure because like this site that you guys have me, like basically I'm just reading the site and kind of listening to what's going on here in the background, but one of the, which is really awesome, it's this Invent to Learn, I guess the book that inspired the website or whatever, but one of the links is resources for makerspaces and hackerspaces, which I've heard that word also, and I guess I always assume hack is associated with like coding to get into breaking down like security measures. I guess that's what hacking associate hacking with. So I thought maybe it was coding more specifically, but it sounds like I'm wrong.
No, I don't know. Everything's right in this world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I posted a link in there right now that's Maker Magazine article about it. But really, I mean, some people just kind of say it comes down to semantics, and some people actually refrain from calling it a makerspace because they feel kind of that maker spaces are kind of correlated with Make Magazine, and there are some people who feel like they'd rather not have their space kind of corporatized.
Okay.
Awesome. I think we have to go ahead and wrap up so that we can go ahead and get into the slam. I want to thank everybody for coming in here and sharing their thoughts on makerspaces, and we'll just keep the conversation going.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks,
and
Craig.
definitely share out this link for everyone as well. To see.
Craig, are you going to get all of these links to or can I help you with
I can put it into a Google Doc and then I'll share it back out on Twitter.
That'd be awesome.
I'm trying to hit stop broadcast though.
Okay.
There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and say the same thing about what Carl was saying about a Chromebook, and I'm